Nico, Wigan in the FA Cup this weekend, the team we played in the league just a couple of weeks ago. Before we get on to that, your reaction from Tuesday night, because despite defeat, there's so much positivity we can take from it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The lads went out there and gave it the lot. I certainly think that their attitude and their willingness to step forward and to try and grind something out of a tough game. Middlesbrough, I think we can all say, were a very, very good team. I think they'll be up and around the top of the Championship this year, and we gave them a run for their money. I think when we really look at it, we could have been better on the ball. We could have been braver to play. We could have caused them more problems, even more than we did. And defensively, we lost a little bit of structure, so we became a little bit emergency defending ahead of, knowing our job and doing our job. It became all hands on deck, do what you can to keep the ball out of the net. And, there were 4 of the 5 goals, obviously not the penalty, but 4 of the 5 goals were outstanding finishes. So I think everybody there got their money's worth. I think we come away with it with a positive feeling that we've got, the group that we feel like we have. October doesn't really reflect who we think we are, and we need to make sure that we're better than that going forward. But we know from August and September that this group is capable of winning games, it's capable of going on runs, and it's capable of scoring goals and being positive, and that's what the target is going to be. And we'll take the momentum from Lincoln and we'll take the positivity from Middlesbrough and try and put that into Saturday.
Someone who got a lot of praise for their performance was, of course, Ryan Trevitt for the goals, but Harry Kite as well. A lot of people were talking about his performance on Tuesday night, how he was sat just in front of that defence, seemed to be distributing the ball, driving us forward. How good was it to be able to put him back in his usual position rather than that right wing back that he's had to fill in for?
Yeah, we know what you get with Kitey. He's a very reliable player. He understands, he knows who he is, and he goes out there and proudly goes about doing his job. That's a strength in a player. You looked at Middlesbrough, that they all knew their job and they went about doing it, and there's some good examples for us from how they played and how they did things that we can take away and see if we can apply in our game. But yeah, Kitey went out there, it probably complimented Trev and allowed him to push on, and he gets his goals from it. It gives the back three a little bit of security in front of them. And Kitey's had a rough start to the season with his own injury and fighting his way back in. So I'm pleased for him because he's a good guy who's been here a long time and contributed a lot to the football club. So fingers crossed he can put on another good performance on Saturday if he starts, and the rest of the guys, take inspiration for what could have been on Tuesday night.
We lost Dimitri Mitchell in the first half of that game. What can you tell us at the moment about his injury?
Not a lot. We're waiting on the official reports to see where he's at. I'd say he's doubtful for Saturday certainly, but hopefully there's nothing too sinister there, and we'll have him back sooner rather than later.
Gary said that we were expecting Dion Rankin back next week. Is that still the plan?
We believe so. Yeah, he's got his final assessment with Chelsea tomorrow. If they're happy with what they see, then he'll be back with us, and he's not just back with us and building up, he'll be back with us and fairly close, ready to play, which is going to be a massive bonus for us.
And just finally on that, I think Ilmari Niskanen isn't too far away either.
No, same again. He's been working really hard. He's feeling good himself. He's started to come back into training in certain parts of it, and the next bit and the final bit for him will be full contact and build the confidence back up, because those kind of injuries, they're the kind of thing that get you second guessing. And for him, he just needs to go in. He's all action. He's 100 mile an hour. The fans saw in the brief glimpse of him that they had for a few games what kind of attitude and what kind of character he is, and can't wait to get him back out there doing his thing.
Let's talk about this game against Wigan then. The league game, perhaps a result that didn't reflect the stats. If you look, 30 chances, but only 4 on target. How do we become more clinical this weekend?
I would take the same performance, just a little bit more belief in front of goal. Since then, we've scored a few. I think that confidence is an interesting thing in footballers, and I think having scored 2 against Middlesbrough, you've probably got to think you can score goals against anybody. The game against Wigan, it was a fascinating game when you look back on it. They got the result. To get beat 2-0 with 1 shot on target against you probably sums up the day that it was. But our process was good, our performance was good. the way we created and the way we kind of forced them back was very good. We just need to make sure that when we get our chances to cross, we get our chances to shoot, that we're fully committed. Ryan Trevitt's goals on Tuesday show full commitment to what he's doing. There was no fear of failure. There was no worrying about whether it went wide or over. There was an opportunity to score and he went and executed the technique. And from our point of view, that's what we need, whether it's edge of the box, whether it's a cross fired across and people running in there. If we can do that, then I'm confident that we'll score goals against anybody. And so it's up to the boys that are selected to go out there and right the wrong, I suppose, from 3 weeks ago.
Are you expecting anything different from Wigan this time around?
Yeah, definitely. I think, they got the result, they got the 3 points, and you looked at how they defended, you looked at how desperately they hung on to things, how they doubled up, they threw themselves in the way of things, they made it really difficult. It's excellent on their part, but 10 years ago they were a Premier League club and they don't expect to be coming to Exeter and having 20% possession and 30 shots against them. They expect to come here and dictate play and put their stamp on how they play out there on the pitch. So their manager's a very, very detailed guy. He's a very intelligent football coach. He would have looked back on that. He would have looked to see how he can make corrections to get them on the front foot and get them controlling the game with the ball, as opposed to hanging on in there without it, which I think would be fair to say. But at the same time, they got the result. So they know that they can come here. They know they can sit back. They know they can be hard to break down. And it's going to be up to us to make sure that we've got the answers to that.
Many players and managers say they have some of their fondest memories in the FA Cup. And we know Gary does, because you say he doesn't stop talking about it. What are your best memories from this competition?
I've been lucky enough to score a few goals in the earlier rounds, which for a left back is quite rare, but it just seemed to pop up. Scored a diving header for Notts County in one of the early rounds. Scored a really good free kick away at Chesterfield for Torquay. I think that was second round to get to the third. And as a player in my kind of early years at Torquay, we had some really good cup runs where we got to the third and fourth round consecutive years. The one thing we didn't get was the big draw, and the one thing, unfortunately, that everybody talks about is when Crawley beat us and then pulled Man U next, which I'm never a big fan of that, because Crawley won and got their draw. If we'd have won, there's no saying it would have been Man U. And I remember sat in the clubhouse with the cameras on us from Sky, waiting for the third round draw, and we got, I think the first one was Blackpool when they were League One. And we beat them, and then the cameras turned up again, and Torquay came out of the hat first, and everybody went up and excited, and we got Coventry, and who were the championship, and they beat us in about the 90th minute, and it was a little bit of a letdown, because you want to see the big clubs come out. But for me, the most important thing, for all of the reminiscing, for all of the good memories, we want to make memories here. We want to make sure that an end of a cup run, it's happened, we did well. We're on to the next one now, and I think the FA Cup for the fan base, the FA Cup for the shareholders of the football club and the people involved, there's a huge romance and history about it, and it's up to us to make sure that we go out and win a game of football on Saturday that gets us through to the next one.